Someone asked me a question. If the Gospels and Paul's letters were written separately with very differing theological approach, how did they all agree on the resurrection except Mark? Were they chosen from many texts because of that common feature? That's an interesting question.
The Gospels and Paul's letters were written separately with very differing theological approach. How did they all agree on the resurrection except Mark? Were they chosen from many texts because of that common feature?
The resurrection of Jesus was the common feature of early Christianity. And Jesus and resurrection, as we find in Acts 17, informed their preaching and writing. The brevity of Mark's account is sometimes overplayed, as though Mark knows nothing of the resurrection. He tells of the women and the young man who tells them, "You're looking for Jesus the Nazarene, who was crucified. He has risen. He's not here. See the place where they laid him, but go tell his disciples and Peter, he is going ahead of you into Galilee. You will see him just as he told you." What this lacks is not the resurrection, but accounts of post-resurrection appearances. The Greek of verse 9, the final verse of what's considered authentic Mark, gives every indication that there was once more, unless Mark deliberately wishes to leave his readers in suspense. The thing is that there is almost no evidence of other Christian writings from the first century. The four Gospels were not only in circulation but accepted as definitive by the first half of the second century, and it was apparently in this period that Paul's letters were first collected, possibly even earlier. I say almost no evidence because Matthew and Luke contain shared non-Markan material known as Q, which seems to have been a document containing sayings of Jesus, but little else. Matthew and Luke also contain some information which is unique to their gospel, such as different birth stories, but whether these are from other documents or from individual research is unclear. Some of Luke's material could conceivably be from oral histories. Then again, there is fragmentary material, most specifically the account of the woman taken in adultery, which appears ancient, but its origins are obscure. The account of the disciples walking to Emmaus is possibly from an independent source. Some scholars find interesting parallels to the longer passage about Jesus in Josephus and Jesus' prayer of thanksgiving in Luke 10, verses 18 and following, has a distinctly Johannine flavour to it. As to John's Gospel, documentary sources are obscure, though he is almost certainly aware of Mark. Overall, the issue is the same as with the Gnostic Gospels. The vast bulk of purportedly Christian writing outside the New Testament is from the mid-2nd century or later. There was very little outside the canonical materials during the 1st century. It doesn't seem that any of it was a complete alternative account of Jesus, and what is known about it is by inference from the materials we do have. No one seems to have thought to preserve it once the more complete writings were available. There are differences in emphasis between the writers, and they have to be acknowledged, like the importance of the truncated ending of Mark. But the crucified and risen Christ is the reason for the lot. Thanks for watching.